Flosstube, Stephanie here, Ms. Oh So Crafty. Welcome to my Flosstube video number 65. Welcome back to all my subscribers. Hello if you're new. So today what I have to share is a bunch of whips, one little finish, bit of haul, and plans for my Sal, which starts tomorrow. So today is Thursday, March 28th, 2019, and tomorrow starts my birthday Sal, which is going to be like a daily rotation challenge for the week leading up to my birthday, which is next week. So I guess we can talk about the Sal a little bit later, but the details are on Instagram if you want to check it out. My Instagram is at Ms. Oh So Crafty, so you can check that out if you like. But let's get into the whips and the finishes for the finish right now. So I guess we'll start with the finish. So when I last filmed, it was a few weeks ago, and I was in the midst of my rotation on the Mill Hill Village. Here it is. And what I finished last time was the Palace Theater. Right there. So the Palace Theater, it was actually a kind of a quick stitch. It only took me 5 days to stitch. And the last day was beading. So there were over 700 beads on here. Most of them were the larger beads, which in terms of the Mill Hill kits means they were attached with a half cross. So that was nice. It went faster than all the little petite beads, which are sewn with a full cross. In this case, there were just two. I think there were like 7 colors of beads in all, and only 2 of them were petite attached with a full cross. Those were the white beads down here in the snow, and some of the smaller green beads in the trees. If you can see those little green beads, like there's one. And there was a little bit of back stitching on here. The gold on the doors. That was a lot of fun. I think it adds a lot of flair to this piece. I thought about swapping out for like petite treasure braid or something, but I didn't want to gild the lily, so I just used the DMC 976 or 677 or something, I guess. I think it was 676 or 677, I can't remember. I guess my favorite parts of this are like, well, the doors as I mentioned, and I really like the lanterns. I think the lanterns are so cute. So there's like several lanterns. 3 on the top there and 2 over there. I really like how the bead swag turned out down here. So these are actually 7 bead swags, and they are tacked down. Each one is tacked down to make the swag shape. And I had to, since it has an uneven number, I had to tack down around the middle bead, which happens to be red. So what I would do is like split the floss around that bead, which worked perfectly when it worked. If the red didn't want to behave, it was a little fiddly to do, but it was worth it. I'm very pleased with how that came out. And when I saw the piece, I really liked the idea of putting when I saw the pattern, I really liked the idea of putting the theater into my village, but I wasn't crazy about the pink. Pink is not really my color, but in the context of the whole village and everything, I think it's great. I think the pink is just fine. And I love how it looks next to the Queen Anne house. So there it is. So this is stitched on 28 count Stormy Gray Jogolin, hand dyed by Witchell. And I am adding a border to it in Krynic number 4 braid, color 032, this little snowflake border all around. And I guess I can get into the whips now. So the first whip I want to show you is the post office, the Melville post office. So here's my start on that. So this one, it's had, I guess, 2 days so far. And actually a little bit extra time. I did bring it out again after I was done with the rotation, just to do another 200 stitches. I'll get into that later as I talk about my magical stitches homework and everything, but I really enjoyed working on this. I think it's a lot of fun doing the bricks. I don't think any of the other buildings in the village have bricks, at least not in this style. So that was cool. And it's coming along, so I think I'm a little bit ahead of schedule on this project. I wanted to finish it by like June, and I mean, if I give this 5 days in April, I'll probably be able to finish it then, and yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll finish the whole thing by June, maybe I'll finish it in May, I don't know, we'll see. There's only one building to go after this one. That'll be the firehouse in the lower right corner. That'll be fun. I think the firehouse is super cute. I'm looking forward to stitching that one. I mean, they're all cute, but in their own way. But definitely I have certain favorites. Like this one is my overall favorite, the cathedral there. I just think that is the most gorgeous thing with all the beads and everything. That one is very heavily beaded. It's more beaded than it is stitched. So it's super sparkly in real life, and the windows are all done with Krynic. You can kind of see the sparkle a little bit, maybe, if I tilt it back and forth. It's much prettier in real life, the colors. So as I worked on this piece throughout that weekend, I had to finish my Magical Stitches homework, which that week that was ending was the Diagon Alley. So the idea was to stitch on pieces that had items you could find in Diagon Alley, and I used my Winnie the Pooh piece for it, for a couple batches of 200 stitches or 300 stitches or whatever was required, I don't recall, but I also used this piece because I said that I was going to visit the pet store in Diagon Alley. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was called, and there is a little cat in this piece in front of the bookseller, the black cat. So yeah, I love the bookseller too. I love all of them, really, in their own way. The only one I'm not, like, absolutely enthralled with is probably the general store, but it's okay. I mean, it's not bad. It's just not the best one, in my personal opinion. But my village had to have a general store, so. Alright, so then it was Monday, and we got our new Magical Stitches, so homework, and that was Year 3, Week 3, and the theme was Magical Chocolate. So one of the tasks was to stitch something brown, and one of the tasks was to stitch an animal that had claws or talons. So a bird definitely qualified for that. So I worked on my Christmas Teddy by Joan Elliott because this piece has lots of brown. Obviously the teddy bear is all brown, and there's actually 2 birds in it, although only one is stitched so far. So I've given this, well, like over 3 days in all since I last showed it to you. But what I did is I kind of stitched some brown colors, and I was sort of picky about the browns because I didn't want to like have to justify it to the mods or whatever, so I only really went for like the darker browns, not the more yellowy tones. And that it was kind of patchy when I was finished. So I wanted to like fill it in more. So that's what I did. So I worked on the the joy blocks and this other ornament over here and the ribbon and the bear's leg. That's the bottom of his foot and that's his paw. It's carved out a little bit weird there because he's holding another balloon. So this is the Joan Elliott pattern and it's stitched on 32 count opalescent Belfast. You see that sparkle? Pretty, pretty. You can see it. I hope you can see it too. I love white opalescent for Christmas things. I like opalescent for Christmas things in general, not just white, but I think the white is very pretty for this piece. And then the other thing I stitched that week was save the stitches because I needed it for the semi-sane stitchers. The district games were going on and the challenge was to stitch 1,500 blue stitches. And this is one of my pieces that definitely has a lot of blue. So this is stitched on 25 count Lugana in the Stormy Cloud colorway, printed by Zweigart. And I am using DMC 336 for the border and the outlines, and I'm using variegated DMC 4240 for the interior diaper patterns. As for the metallics, I'm using DMC Diamant thread in gold, silver, and copper. Now, this thread gets pretty good reviews on 123, and I was kind of eager to try it. I wish I could go back and make a decision to use something else, like Petite Treasure Braid for the back stitching. This stuff, I mean, it's not terrible, but it is very splitty. Like, you cut it and thread your needle, and it immediately starts splitting. Like, you don't even have to stitch with it before it starts splitting. So I'm not really a fan of that, but it does stitch up very prettily. And I have these 3 big spools of it, so I'm just going to use them. Hopefully I won't have to buy more later to finish it. So what I did was I finished this side over here. So this was part 3. This block, this one, and this one. And I extended the border down on the sides. The border is also by Elizabeth Almond in the freebie section of her website. The booklet that has all the border patterns just after the Save the Stitches one, last installment. And then I started on, well, I stitched part 4 as well. So part 4 was all these blocks. And that was kind of a nice change of pace because these are a lot more open, less dense really than some of the others. So it went faster and that was fun. This one took a while though. That one was pretty precise, exacting, whatever, a lot of over 1 counting and all that, so. And then I still needed more stitches on it, so I did, I needed it for Magical Stitches homework the next week, which was, well, it was complicated. It had to do with different classes. I used this one for the arithmancy class because it's based on diamonds, which is a geometric shape. So I had to do like, I think 200 stitches on it, and I just did the diamond outlines for part 5, and I worked on the border a little bit, just extended it down from like there to there. That was like 1 thread. So it's coming along. I think I'll probably work on it more in April. And I'll definitely be able to finish the, I should be able to finish the 12 parts this year, I think. because I'm sort of keeping up with it as the months go by. Like as I mentioned, this was part 4, so it's still March, so I might be maybe even a little ahead. And hopefully I'll be able to do 12 parts this year and finish it off next year. I worked on that for 4 days. It took a while to get those 1,500 stitches on this because the back stitch only counts for half, you know? So, and then I technically had 1 day left in my rotation, but I knew 1 day wasn't going to be enough to finish, finish stitch and finish part 5, so I just decided to rotate early to the Christmas teddy, and I already showed that to you. I showed that to you before. So, yeah, I worked on the Christmas teddy for 3 days. And then a new week arrived, so Monday again, we get our new Magical Stitches homework, so now we're in year 3, week 4, and the theme was classes. So there were 5 classes. You had to do 3 of them, or you could do all 5 for like extra credit or whatever. And of course, me, I had to do all 5. So. The first class was arithmancy, and as I mentioned, I did save the stitches for that. And I actually knocked out 3 classes that first day, that Monday, so that was the first time in a while that I've actually worked on 3 projects in 1 day. That was kind of crazy. So I worked on this one, the Save the Stitches, and I worked on the Christmas teddy, and I did the Mill Post Office. Just 200 and 227 and 200 stitches. So yeah, that was kind of fun. Crazy rotation. And then another part of the homework was ancient runes. So for that one, I chose to work on Celtic Winter, because Celtic Winter has words in it. Well, 1 word anyway. Winter. It also has mandala patterns that could be ancient runes, I guess. So, see that sparkle? That is Krynic thread, silver, high luster. The pattern calls for silver Krynic, and I didn't actually have 002, right? I didn't actually have 002, but I had 002 HL. I figured high luster's not bad. Why not, right? So I had a spool in my stash. It wasn't a full spool, but I did use most of it. So I did most of the scroll work in her dress, except for some of the scroll work at the bottom there. And of course I stitched a lot more of the cape. And I did the mandala patterns over here. So this is stitched on 28 count pearl gray casual by Zweigart. And I'm doing a color conversion with the cape by Natalie G. So she charted the cape, and she charted the colors for the conversion colors for the dress too. I chose my own colors for the cape and for the medallions because the colors that Natalie had chosen just didn't really work on my fabric. So I'm thrilled with how the colors are turning out. This is probably the first thing that I've extensively converted without having to like frog a lot. Of course, I'm not done yet, so I hope I didn't jinx myself by saying that. But so far, there's been no real frogging. Knock on wood. Tapping the underside of the bar that I'm sitting at filming. So I worked on this for 5 days, and I got like over 4,000 stitches. So 200 of those were for the Ancient Runes class, rather. But the other were just for I wanted to make progress, but also I was using it for the semi-sane challenge. So the challenge that week was to stitch something in the opposite of fishing, because we were doing District 4, which was all about fishing, so the challenge was to stitch something opposite to fishing. And I said that Celtic winter is opposite to fishing because, well, she is a lady walking along in a fancy dress, and fishing involves just sitting still or standing still, waiting for the fish to bite. You're not walking anywhere while you're fishing. And also, you wouldn't be doing it in a fancy dress, so opposite enough, I guess. I really love working on this piece, and I've made a decision about mania. I'll get into that later, I guess. So as the Sunday rolled around, I really had to finish my homework. So the last class was Care of Magical Creatures, and I decided to work on my Teresa Wentzler Fantasy Triptych because there is a unicorn in one of the panels. And this was also just the last piece, my last focus piece for the month. So I wanted to give this 3 days in March, and I did. I gave it 3 days. So this is stitched on 25 count antique white Jobelan, or Monaco. Yeah, Monaco, I think. And it's 2/2 with plenty of fractionals. So I am working on the center panel. I worked over the page break into the page immediately to the left and started, well, stitching on it. I finished off this section down here in the bottom and started on the next page. I'm a few columns into it, like 2 columns, I think. And the whole next page is castle and grassy ground beneath it. And then a little bit more on the far left page. So this thing is 6 pages. It's like page 1, 2, 3 on the bottom, and then 4, 5, 6 on the top. So I didn't actually finish this page, the middle page, because there is a bit of the panel with the knight on page, that page, the center page, and I didn't stitch that part. I decided I'm just going to focus on the center panel first because I think it's probably the most boring to stitch, so I'll just get it out of the way. It's not really boring to stitch though because of the crazy confetti. It's quite a challenge with the confetti and all the blends and everything, but I enjoy it, I really do. And there's a lot of backstitching to do on this page too. I'm a little bit concerned about the backstitching. There is a ton of backstitching all through here. There's a little bit on the castle walls. I think that'll be pretty easy because it's just sort of delineating in the columns and the towers and whatnot. That's not a big deal, but in this area, I mean, I guess these are like trees or something through here. It's going to be interesting backstitching that. Just because it's not really clear what you're backstitching. At least it's not clear to me. But yeah, I'll probably backstitch it when I'm done with the rest of this panel. But I'll keep plugging away. I haven't actually been giving it a lot of time this year because I know it's not like this is going to be a multi-year project. I'm not aiming to finish it this year or anything, so. But hopefully I will continue giving it a significant, 3 days here and there as the months go by, and hopefully get like half of it done this year. That might be possible. So on the Monday, we got our new homework for Magical Stitches, and after the previous week, the 5 classes, which were quite challenging, this week, the Year 3, Week 5, the theme was Bogart, and the homework was really easy. I mean, at least in terms of not very flexible in terms of the theming. So the idea was just cast your Patronus charm. So stitch something that makes you happy. And stitch something scary because you have to, find your happiness to cast the Bogart to defeat to scare away the scary Dementor, right? So I claim that this piece was scary because of the floss list, which is 3 pages long, and there are like 100 blended flosses. That's pretty scary, don't you think? And besides the confetti. The confetti is also kind of horrifying. It's pretty crazy confetti. So many shades of green. Blended shades, no less. Good thing green is my favorite color, right? Alright, so that took us up to March 26, and I did have a few extra days in my rotation because I have a rotation up to the 28 days each month. So what I decided to do is bring out Winnie the Pooh again, because I had only given it 4 days earlier in the month, and I really wanted to give it 5. So it's actually still in progress, so it's still in the frame. I'll probably put in a bit more stitches on it tonight after I'm done with this video. So my aim was to finish this column. It's almost done. I can probably finish that tonight. I do have to fill in a little bit more up here. I ran out of one of my DMCs, one of the ones that's needed to fill in this area. But I did pick it up today. Went to Joann. So for those of you in the States who may have a Joann nearby, the floss sale is pretty good. It's 40 cents per, so I stocked up. I got like, I don't know, $5 worth of floss, so that was like 15 skeins or something. So yeah, pretty cool. So I just worked on this column basically from the midline down to the bottom. I worked with the park threads first, and then I started filling in, so it's coming along. So close to finished yet so far. I really need to backstitch Christopher Robin and Kanga and the little boat she's holding, and of course Rue needs to be done. Kanga is just kind of a little mess right now. I mean, she's not a mess, but she'll be much clearer with the backstitch. And I need to fill in this area and the area around the door. That's all done with blending filament. And there's a few stitches up here in the tree that are done with blending filament. This is the kit from MCG Textiles, and I am doing a full conversion of DMC conversion on it, and I converted the fabric as well, so it's just stitched on 28 count ecru Monaco. Okay, so my goal for this piece tonight basically, or maybe even a little bit tomorrow, is to finish this column, and then I will only have like a column and a half to do over here, and of course all the details on this page. That'll be fun. Maybe if I'm lucky, I'll be able to finish it next month in April. If not, certainly by May then. Alright, so I guess that's it for my whips, and I can show you my haul now. So it's not extensive, but it is pretty cool. I ordered from mercrestiton.ru, and this is a kit from Abre's Art. It's AB577 is if you're looking for it online. It does have English instructions, which is good, because I'd be a little lost otherwise. It's not cross stitch. So here are the instructions. Beadwork on natural canvas. And these are the beads. Aren't those pretty? So these are check beads in several colors and a few different shapes. Like there are these turquoise diamond beads at the bottom there. Very pretty beads. And then the idea is you have to sew them onto this canvas here. So this is like, it doesn't come with a needle or anything, or thread for that matter, but I think you would probably need a nice sharp needle to punch through here. The canvas is, I mean, it's not like super thick or anything, but it's not like fabric either. It's a little firmer than that. I mean, it is like fabric, I guess, but it's not like Aida or linen or anything like that. So basically, there are all these little dots and circles and ovals on here, and that's where you sew the beads. So basically, the beads are sewn all over this piece. It's very extensively beaded. And I'm very excited about it. I've never done anything like that before, so it'll be really fun. Look at that those glorious royal blue beads all over the peacock. So pretty. The butterflies are really cute. I love the texture of this, the dimensionality. And one thing that's really cool about this is, if you look closely, you see there's like a little line. See that little line cutting down? So this is actually a folding line, so you can fold this on that line and wrap it on a canvas, and you'll have like the edge of the canvas will be covered if you wanted to just pop the canvas on the wall, which I think is a really cool idea, and I'll probably finish it that way. Oops, that's upside down, sorry. Yeah, so that'll be interesting. I was kind of on the fence about whether I should account this for my Stitch from Stash budget. I guess I should. I mean, it is kind of stitching, I guess. It does involve a needle and a thread, although they do not come with the kit. And then the other thing I got is indeed cross stitch. This is a kit from Juno, and it is called Swan Lake, I think. The number is 0504. So this kit does not come with English instructions. What it does come with is 16 count white Zweigart Aida and DMC floss, pre-sorted. So this is what the fabric and the floss look like. And I'm a little bit, the instructions are kind of lengthy, but I can't read them because they're all in Russian. But when I look at the chart, there's really not all that much to it. I mean, granted, the chart is huge, but it's all just cross stitch. Like, there's no back stitching, there's no French knots, there's nothing fancy. It's just plain old cross stitch. So in that sense, I don't really need the directions. I know how to cross stitch. I'll just follow the chart, you know. It's black and white symbol chart, and the symbols are all on the floss cards. See? Black and white symbols. So I guess I can do that without instructions. Hopefully I won't be missing anything major. And I looked at the chart pretty closely. I didn't see any back stitching on it, but if I do find some back stitching on it as I work it, I guess I can just, you know, use one strand or whatever. Probably one strand would be sufficient on 16 count. And I'll just have to pick an appropriate color to use, which I can do. Oftentimes I kind of add backstitch to things when it's not necessarily called for, just because I think sometimes a little backstitch can greatly enhance full coverage designs. So I don't know if that'll be the case for this one, but we shall see, I guess, when I stitch it. I really love this design because I visited this place, Neuschwanstein, in Bavaria in 2002, I guess it was. And the castle itself is cool. Don't get me wrong. It's not a real full castle though. It's just like there's a few rooms that are furnished, incredibly furnished, I may add. But what I really appreciated about the experience of visiting this place was the scenery around it. It's just absolutely beautiful. Mountaintops, alpine lakes, waterfalls. It's an incredible, beautiful spot. Some of the prettiest scenery I've ever seen. And what I like about this piece is that you actually see some of that scenery. Like you can see the alpine lake. You don't see the waterfall, you do see the mountains. So I have other Neuschwanstein patterns in my stash, but they don't really show the scenery. Like they might have a few trees or something, but the focal point is the castle. And I like how this one has sort of a wider view. I think this is a really beautiful chart. And I'm excited to stitch it. All right, that's it for my stash. So I'll be right back and we'll talk about my SAL. Okay, so let's talk about my birthday SAL. It starts tomorrow, March 29th, and goes through April 4th, and it's a daily rotation challenge. You don't have to rotate every day, but there's different themes every day. And I am going to try to do a different piece every day, just for fun. So I will put the themes up on the screen here. So the first theme, March 29th tomorrow, the theme is the letter S. So stitch a design or pattern or whatever involving the letter S, or you do specialty stitches. On the next day, March 30th, that'll be Saturday, the theme is jewel tones. So that could be anything. There are jewels are pretty much every color under the rainbow. So just decide what jewel it is and go for it. March 31st, Sunday, the theme is wonders of nature. So that would be like flora, fauna, plants, animals, whatever you want. So April 1st, Monday, the theme is imagination. So stitch something fantasy related or literary or imaginary or just whatever, imaginary to you. April 2nd, Tuesday, the theme is fancy. So just stitch something fancy, whatever that means to you. It could be fancy floss, it could be a fancy lady, it could be metallics, it could be beads, it could be silks, whatever you want, whatever seems fancy. April 3rd, the Wednesday, the theme is sparkly. So that would be like metallics, beads, opalescent fabric, whatever's sparkly. And then April 4th, next Thursday, the theme is focus on a finish. So stitch on whatever you have that's fully finished and or fully finished something. So I'll tell you my plans for the stitch along. So the first day, letter S, I'm going to do my spooky house piece. I'll insert a pic. So that'll be nice because I actually haven't touched that piece this month at all. So it'll be good to work on that a little bit. The next day, jewel tones, I plan to work on Celtic Winter because definitely sapphire blue, right? And not to mention the pearly whites. I guess pearls aren't technically a gemstone, but for the purposes of the SAL, they could be considered a gemstone. So white is cool. For Wonders of Nature, I plan to work on Fantasy Triptych. That'll be on the 31st because of all the trees and grass and whatnot. This block. Yeah. Plenty of nature. And then for the fancy day, I'm planning to work on Save the Stitches, just because I feel like this is a pretty fancy piece with the metallics and the black work and all that. So this is fancy in my mind. And then the next day, April 3rd, Sparkly, I plan to work on Christmas Teddy because it is on the opalescent velvet. See those sparkles? And it calls for quite a lot of gold metallic actually. Like all this in here would be gold metallic, and there's gold metallic highlights in the tree and on the ornaments and all that. So maybe I'll actually see if I have that one in my stash and try to get some of the metallics done. So that'll be like doubling down on the sparkly that day. If I don't have it in my stash though, I'll just work more on the bear's foot and everything, and his arm, which needs to go in there, and the rest of his sleeve. So that'll be fun. I really love working this piece. It's probably my favorite whip. I just love the colors, and it's just so much fun watching it come together, all the little details and everything. And then for the last day, excuse me for a sec. Okay, so for April 4th, the last day of the SAO, which happens to be my birthday, I'm planning to work on this piece, Riola's Bird of Happiness. This is from a kit. It is on printed Aida cloth, but the bird is counted. All the stitching is counted. The background is printed. So what I need to do to finish this is just a little bit more back stitching in the bottom area, and I'm going to use these 2 Krynics that I got for the purpose. So what I did basically is substitute the Krynics for the DMC that was called for the back stitching. So it was back stitching in 3 colors: gold, navy blue, and red. And I did the gold, as you can see, because I had that one in my stash, but I had to order these 2, so I did. And I'm looking forward to finishing that. I think it'll take like an hour. And that'll be exciting to get a birthday finish. I love having a birthday finish. It certainly doesn't happen every birthday, but if I can work it out that way, it's ideal, because finishing is like my favorite thing. I prefer finishing to starting. So, all right, that's it for my SAL. So plans. Well, my April rotation will start April 1st, along with my birthday SAL. So the pieces I plan to focus on in April are Winnie the Pooh and Celtic Winter, Save the Stitches, Christmas Teddy, and Spooky House. I think those are the 5. And then 3 days maybe for Fantasy Triptych. Or maybe I'm going to do 5 days for Fantasy Triptych. I can't remember. I basically have enough whips, or few enough whips. I guess you could say I have 8. And that enables me to work on everything every month, pretty much. And that brings me sort of a nice segue into Mania. So I was thinking a lot about Mania, like, well, I have these 8 whips. I really like having 8 whips. Do I really want to start, another 7 or 8 to get up to 15 projects? And no, I don't. And then I saw this thread on, I guess it was on Stitch Mania, that Jessie Marie started. Hi, Jessie, if you're watching. And it was basically, who's interested in doing Monogamania? And that was her brainchild that she came up with last year or the year before. And that sounded pretty good to me, Monogamania. I don't know if I'll be able to be completely monogamous, because there is magical stitches going on, so I may have to switch away from my focus piece during Mania to accomplish the homework tasks and whatnot. But I've decided that I'm going to work on Celtic Winter for 15 or 19 days, however long it takes me to finish it, beginning May 1st. And it would just be great to get this piece finished, and I don't think it'll drive me crazy stitching this monogamously. It's not like the Wensler piece or something, or with the crazy confetti. I don't know if I could do that 19 days straight. But this one I can do 19 days. Or 15, I don't know. We'll see how long it takes to finish. It is kind of like, the bottom half is pretty much done now. Well, that's not true. I mean, there's metallic stitches that have to go on the cape trim, and then also whisper thread to go in there. And there's metallic that has to go in these medallions, and there's a back stitch line that has to go in the border area. But the back stitch, the bottom is more densely stitched, more fully stitched than the top half, because of the way the cape and the dress assembly flares out so much, as you can see. So the borderline, the medallions come down right about there where my finger is. So the edge of the cape actually goes outside of the border lines, and I'm not going to be able to start the border lines because on the left side, because I want to do that from the top, because I'm not sure exactly where they will come into the cape, because the cape is like an overlay on top of the pattern, and I'm not sure if it has the same dimensions, the same stitch count across as the pattern does. So it'll just be easier to work it up to the top and do the words, and then work the the winter word, and then work the medallions down on the left side. But that'll be nice. I haven't done anything monogamous like that in a while, years. So it'll be sort of its own, challenge, and I'm looking forward to that. Monogamania. I realize that it's certainly not as dynamic as rotating every day, but I'll be doing that every day for my birthday sal, and I do plan to vlog for that, for the birthday sal. I probably won't vlog for Mania. I don't know, I might. It just would be kind of a boring vlog, like, I did, 500 stitches, here they are. Here's another 500 stitches. Yeah, so, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see about the Mania vlog. I don't know if the Monogamania will be, maybe if I could talk to Jessie about it. I hope to see you, Jessie, at our next meetup, which is going to be April 6th at Sherwood Library in Alexandria. This is the DC Metro Stitchers meetup. Anyone is welcome. So it's going to be at Sherwood Library in Alexandria on April 6th, Sunday at 2 p.m., 2 to 5. So if you're local, I hope you can make it. And we'd love to see new faces. And we always have a really good time, lots of fun and laughing and camaraderie and sharing. And yeah, it's great. So this library also happens to be pretty close to In Stitches. So if you wanted to do some shopping, that would be very convenient. All right, so I will get my vlog for my birthday sal uploaded sometime after April 4th, probably by like April 5th or 6th. And then I'm leaving for Arizona the next week, and I'll probably film like mid-April or an update mid-April, end of April, something like that. I don't know, it just depends on how many pieces I go through, I guess. So, all right, thank you so much for watching. Thank you everyone who comments and hits the thumbs up. I love you all. Looking forward to meeting some of you in Arizona, or seeing some of you again in at Stitch Shenanigans, so that'll be really fun. And if you're going to Stitch Shenanigans and you want me to bring any particular piece of mine that, any finish or whatever, or any of my whips that you want to see in person, just leave me a comment and I will do that, as long as it's not something that's already framed, because I'm not packing framed pieces. So I like to travel light, which means carry on luggage, so yeah, can't get a framed piece in my duffel bag. But anything else I will gladly bring with me. All right, everyone, take care, be well, be kind, ta-ta.